So I've been doing some deep diving analysis this morning, and I found two things. First and foremost, people are running out of time in this market cycle to accumulate while prices are low. We know this to be the case. As always, this is not financial advice, but this happens cycle after cycle after cycle. Eventually hit this point where alts begin to gain dominance versus BTC, and we're seeing some early signs of that. In fact, especially the Ethereum chart is showing that things are about ready to pop. Now, what I've also found out is that people have floated the idea of this being a shorter market cycle than normal. And the data is actually showing that this may in fact be a longer market cycle than normal. And I want to show you guys why this is. Now, first and foremost, when we look at, for example, just some of these larger alts that I talk about here often on the channel, for example, ADA appears to have found its bottom. This was actually back on April 12th. You can see the last few weeks, it's been climbing, starting to set its trend. It did the same exact thing last market cycle, bottomed before the halving, started climbing. Yes, there were retracements along the way, but it started to gain substantially over BTC. And then late market cycle, you see the big run up that happens, right? Shiba Inu doesn't have that historical data to, through a halving before to show that, but we can see that SHIB appears to have bottomed versus BTC, especially on the local timeline here. You can see that it is in fact climbing and gaining ground versus BTC. And Ethereum is showing the same thing right now. When we zoom in on this Ethereum chart, you guys can see that, this is the weekly. Ethereum appears to have bottomed a couple weeks ago now in terms of its pairing with Bitcoin, and it is in fact climbing and setting this direction, right? So these are all those great things showing that the market is kind of ready for that turn to flip towards alt season. Transitions happening. Retail money is the big driver of that, because retail looks for some of these more, we'll call it speculative plays, and they start to flow into things that theoretically can have, bigger gains, faster moving prices, that sort of stuff. So we're seeing that transition take place. Now, when I was looking deeper at the Ethereum chart, I noticed something very interesting here. And it appears that, in fact, we may be geared up for a longer market cycle than normal. Some people have talked about, us hitting an early high in terms of BTC, before the halving, which has never happened before. That is signifying that we may be done in early 2025. Well, what if we're not actually done until 2026? So when we look at the Ethereum BTC chart, there's something very consistent that's been playing out here. There's a period of time from basically the top of ETH's dominance over BTC to the bottom. That has happened, the prior cycle happened during this bear market. And now it looks like we may be gearing up for a little bit longer of a run for ETH to gain dominance over BTC. So Ethereum's first cycle, you guys can see that it took about 602 days from the bottom of its dominance versus BTC to the top. This was in June of 2017. Then it went through this 800-day drop to all the way to the bottom of its dominance. Then what it did was it actually climbed for 819 days until the top, which was December of 2021. Then we started going through our correction, which again was a little bit over 800 days. It was about 850 something. This shows 860, but it was 850 something this time. So now, does that mean that we're going to have, another time of 600 days, or we're going to have another time of 800 days, or is this in fact going to elongate? Any way you look at it, whether it's 600 days, you guys see that takes us actually into early 2026. If it's 800 days, it takes us sometime into late 2026. Now, what's interesting about this too is I don't know if anybody has ever seen this chart before, but this is periods of when to make money in the market. Okay. So A shows years in which panics have occurred and will occur again. You guys can see that, historically, this is when we've gone through some big significant drops, not just in crypto, but in the stock market as well. And then B is years of good times, high prices, and time to sell stocks and values of all kinds. All right. And then C is typically years of hard times, low prices, and a good time to buy stocks, corner lots, goods, etc. So we can see that for the crypto market, for example, many of these have corresponded with those times. And in fact, you see 2023, it shows as one of those low times where it was an opportunity to add up. All right. Now, when we look at 2026, it shows that may be not a bad time to sell stocks and crypto and things like that. Now, obviously, this is not, a sure thing or anything like that. Right. But this is what has been shown to actually have some level of consistency over time. We go through these waves. And right now we're approaching, 2026, which shows as a mid wave in this chart. So there's a lot of different things that you can assess. For example, nobody really knows for sure. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Nobody knows the impact of mass adoption on the market, or what institutional money is going to do, or the adoption of the crypto industry as a whole from enterprises, right? This stuff is all new to us. The market's evolving and changing very rapidly. And we'll just have to be patient and wait to see how things play out. But this is why, me personally, I don't see the shorter time frame playing out. People are calling for, the top in early 2025. I don't see it. I frankly don't. It's too much interest, too much adoption coming, too much from institutional money. Business is just beginning to get into crypto. This stuff is only going to magnify and snowball as we roll down the road. But I just thought I'd share that with you guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Let me know what you think. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. Show your love below. Catch you guys in the next one. Take care.